welcome everyone to the eMedica AKT Pass Guarantee Program, the 90-day program for the April 2022 AKT exam, and today's orientation. So let me just explain how it'll work. I'll introduce myself and the team. That's a big part of what this is about today, really. Is, you're going to get to meet the team. We'll go through exactly how the Pass Guarantee Program works, how to do your daily work and submit your work, how to submit your weekly tasks, and then there'll be a Q&A, a chance for you to ask anything you want about how the program will work. Right, let's make a start. And those of you that have already received your welcome box, you will have seen a card with this picture and this very famous quotation on it. Those of you that have signed up, we had quite a lot of doctors that signed up over the weekend, and even some that signed up today. All of your welcome packs have been posted, but you might not actually get it until a couple of days' time. Okay, so just want to start with this because we're right at the beginning. This is actually even before the program starts, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, from Lao Tzu. And it can seem, when you're thinking about, first of all, preparing for AKT, because the curriculum's so large, it can seem like, how will I ever conquer this? There's just too much. It can be really overwhelming. And that's one of the big things that this program is going to give you, is that you don't need to worry about the whole thing. All you need to worry about is the day's work. What happens in the email that you get each day. Just deal with the work within that email. You just have to focus on one step. And you've taken a big first step by joining this program, because it means that we can take care of the structure and the what you need to learn. All you need to do is do the work. You don't need to worry about, will I cover this? How will I cover this? What do I need to read? We've done all of that for you. It's a very structured program. It's really hard work, but what you need to do is just focus on the work. So you've taken that big first step. Each day, just focus on one step. The next day, you get another email. Focus on the work in that email. The next day, you get another email. Focus on the work on that email. When you get to the end of the program, without realizing you're at the top of the mountain, you look back, you'll have covered all of the key topics in the whole curriculum. You will have learned exam technique. You'll have practiced, not just read. You will have seen lots of different modes of learning, and you'll be ready, but you'll also be confident that you've covered all of the key important topics in the curriculum. Okay, so that's a really, really important first step. So, well done, and thank you for trusting us, and thank you for coming on this journey with us. Okay, so let's make a start then. It's only going to take about 20 minutes, and then we'll allow time for quick Q&A, no more than half an hour for the whole thing. Okay, so the first thing is to meet the team. So I recognize some of the names. You might have been to one of our previous courses or attended maybe the National VTS or Lockdown Learning or some of our free sessions, or I might have seen you in the GP training support group asking questions. So I recognize a lot of names. There might be some of you that are new that maybe don't know me. So just a brief introduction. My name is Muhibur Rahman. I'm a portfolio GP based here in Birmingham and Solihull. So that means that I'm a GP with different roles. So I'm a partner in my own practice. I'm the resident GP at a secure unit for women with significant mental health problems. I work as a locum in other practices sometimes. I've worked in community detox for many years as a prison GP and various other roles. And my main role now as medical director of eMedica is dealing with medical education, helping support doctors throughout their GP careers, from getting into training, getting through membership, to career options and career development. But we also do consulting work, teach for various deaneries, Health Education England, different sections. We've run joint courses with the MRCGP and so on. So I did my own GP training in Neath Port Talbot in South Wales, although I lived in Swansea while I was doing it. And I passed my MRCGP with merit back in 2007. I got FRCGP for my work in medical education, promoting GP careers and humanitarian and global medicine in 2019. I'm one of the authors of the National Prescribing Safety Assessment. I've written various books, articles, and study guides on MRCGP. I've also worked as an examiner and invigilator, both for the GMC, and I continue to work as an examiner for Liverpool Medical School for their OSCEs. So introduce you to the rest of the team. Anna is part of the core eMedica e-learning team. She's one of the admins for the PGP WhatsApp group, which we'll tell you about in a minute, and she'll be on the faculty for all our courses and webinars. So Anna.
Hi guys. I think we're going to get to know each other quite well over the next few months. I just encourage you to really throw yourself into this process. It's hard work, but it's really, really worthwhile. Get organised. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and trust the process. It can be a bit demoralising at the beginning because you don't know the stuff that you're learning, but that's how learning works. So we've seen amazing progress in different doctors taking this programme, and there's absolutely no reason not to think that you will be that as well. well. So really look forward to working with you and seeing you moving onwards in leaps and bounds and smashing that AKT in a few months' time.
Thanks, Anna. Okay, and then I'll introduce you to Masuda Rahman. So Masuda is Director of E-Learning at eMedica, one of the senior management team, core eMedica team member since right near the very beginning. She's helped to develop a lot of the material and is faculty for all our courses and webinars. So I'll hand you over to Masuda.
Just want to say welcome. And as Dr. Rahman said, you're going to see my name pop up on a lot of webinars. We're going to spend a lot of time together over the next few months. And to reiterate some of what Anna was saying, we just want you to remember that you're not alone in any of this. Sometimes it's going to feel a bit difficult. It's going to feel like you've hit a wall. It might sometimes feel quite challenging. Please remember that the content that we're giving you is meant to be challenging. It's designed for learning. So don't worry too much about what you're scoring. Just keep going. You're not alone. We promise it will work.
Thank you very much, Masuda. And I hand you over finally to Dr. Kennedy Umej. So Kennedy is our AKT mentor for the Pass Guarantee program. So one of the things that's really helpful is that Kennedy actually has been exactly where you were not too long ago. He completed the Pass Guarantee program about this time last year, maybe give or take. And not only did he pass the exam, he smashed it. He got 95% overall, one of the highest scores ever recorded in AKT. And he will support primarily this program via the WhatsApp group, which you're welcome to join. We'll send you a link to join that in the email that you get before the program starts. You get an email on Wednesday with the links for things like that. So I'll hand you over to Kennedy. Nice to see you, Kennedy.
Hello, nice to see you. You're welcome to the Pass Guarantee program. It just some few months ago, I was just in your position with all the anxiety, with all the uncertainties. How am I going to conquer this AKT that I've heard so much about? Where do I start? And just to let you know, I've got 4 children, busy man I am. Where do I start? What can I read? One thing the Pass Guarantee program did for me, like he said, was to structure my reading. Just make me forget about what am I supposed to cover, how am I supposed to cover it, and knowing that each day as you follow the program, by the time you finish with the process, you've gone through almost everything. So I just want to assure you that you don't need to be super intelligent to pass the AKT. You just need to be hardworking. Don't allow your tasks to pile up. Don't allow any anxiety to kick in. You have all the support you need from the Pass Guarantee program. I will be there in the WhatsApp group to support you, to share with you my experience, to answer your questions if you need to. Some people come privately to ask me questions. I'm always available to answer your questions. Just take the process as it is and dedicate yourself to it, and you definitely smash the AKT. Welcome again.
Thank you so much, Kennedy. Okay, good. So you've met some of the core team for the Pass Guarantee program, but I just want to introduce you to other names that make up the core eMedica team that will also play an important role, but they won't necessarily be at the courses. But for example, you might get emails from them. Sometimes, you might send an email or call into the office and you're going to get support from the other members of the team. So you might get emails or hear from all of these other members of the team. So Selina Begum is our general manager, Tuba Jamil, Jubaida Khatun, Rabia Hussein, and Mariam bint Mu'min are all part of our wonderful support team. Okay. And we're all here to, help you get through this. Okay. So let me explain how the program works for the 90-day program. So the 90-day program, as it says, is a program that has the 90 days leading up to the AKT exam. So to cover the 225 or so hours of learning in that time, what it means is very intense. Okay, so what's going to happen is every single morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get an email. So the email will contain links to what you need to do that day. And at the beginning of each week, there'll also be details of the weekly tasks. So you have daily tasks. Those have to be done within 24 hours of that email hits before you get the next email. Okay, so within that, there'll be a question of the day. And after you've done the question, there'll be reading to do. There'll be online revision, 1 set of questions on weekdays. On weekends, there's usually 2. Okay, we're going to use both the eMedica question bank, which has got over 2,200 questions, but also the MRCGP self-test question bank, so that you get exposure to 2 banks that are close to the real exam, but also to get exposure to different questions on key topics. There'll also be links to reading to do. So we'll use official sources. So we'll use things like the Oxford Handbook of General Practice, but also NICE CKS. You'll also have case cards to read. You can read from the physical printed case cards. For those of you that have got your welcome pack, you've already got those. For those that haven't got those yet, you'll have access to the digital ones, okay? There'll be various learning exercises that you'll do. And then weekly tasks, some of them will be videos to watch and then questions to answer. Some of them will be exercises where you're going to create your own topic reviews, i.e. concise notes that makes you think. Some of them will be additional online questions, maybe from MRCGP. Some will be knowledge challenges, but essentially everything will be detailed and linked from the email. Now, I mentioned the Oxford Handbook of General Practice. The Oxford Handbook of General Practice is the core text for GP training. So I know that a lot of you have already got it, but anyone that hasn't already got it, please get hold of it. It absolutely must be the 5th edition, okay? Because if you have the 4th edition, which is more than 6 years old, so nearly every guideline has been updated in that time. So you'd actually be doing more harm than good in that you'll be learning something and then having to unlearn that to learn the current guideline, okay? The 5th version is the most current edition. Even then, there'll be some things that have been updated since then because it was published in 2020 and some guidelines got changed in late 2020. It was published summer 2020. A lot of guidelines got changed in 2021. Don't worry about that. It's a good starting point. We'll guide you which pages to read on which days, and it's useful as a reference, okay? Where things have changed, you'll see that at the courses for all the key topics, we will cover the more up-to-date guidelines anyway. Similarly, the case cards were last updated at the end of December 2021, so they're bang up to date. So again, you'll be able to get that. Someone's asked if there's a online or PDF version. You can get a Kindle version of this. Okay, so from the same link, I'll show you. When you click that link, so if you click that link, I pasted it into the chat, right? Here we are. It will take you to this page. You can just buy either the paper version, and you can get it by tomorrow, or you can get the Kindle version on the same page, okay? It's whatever you prefer. Some people prefer to have it, like I like to read things on paper, but other people like to have it because on the Kindle, you can have it on your phone, and you can have it, if you've got a Kindle or Kindle app on your Android or Apple device, whatever you prefer, okay? But we will be guiding you to read different pages for that as part of the program. And then something really important is to, track your progress, but also to enjoy the little wins. So within your welcome pack, there's a daily progress tracker. It's actually on the back of the little postcard with that welcome picture and message about the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. There's a curriculum checklist, and then we will send you with the first email, the full timetable, although you've already got access to all of the dates that were in the learning agreement, but a full 90-day timetable. So I'll just show you what the things look like. So this is the progress tracker. It's on the back of that postcard with the welcome message. So look, as you tick off each day's work and you've submitted it, tick it off, and you'll see then, look, you're like, I'm nearly a quarter of the way there. When you get here, look, I've done day 40, I'm halfway there. You're getting here, I'm getting near to the end now. Last stretch now, and when you finish, you get that sense of satisfaction. Similarly, you'll see that there's the printed curriculum checklist in your welcome pack. What we've done is, from the curriculum, which is a huge document, we've taken just under 600 of the most important topics, and we've split them into the clinical ones, the stats ones, the admin ones. Again, we're going to cover all of these by the end of the program, but what I'd like you to do is, as you cover a topic and you feel, I'm confident in that, tick it off. And you'll see that at the beginning, it's all empty, right? No ticks at all. By the time you get halfway, a lot of things are ticked. By the time we get into having done, all of the taught sessions, and you're getting into the last couple of weeks, you'll see that nearly everything's ticked. When you get to a couple of days before the exam, you look back at this and you see the whole thing's ticked. It's going to give you a real confidence. I've covered all the key topics. It'll help you to go into the exam feeling that, I've covered the really, really important things here, okay? And then we'll send you in the first email a PDF version of this. This is just basically, day one is the 27th of January. So that's Thursday. You'll actually get the first email the day before. So the day before, the email you'll get will include a recording of this session in case you want to watch it back. It will include a link to sign up to the WhatsApp group for your cohort if you want to join it. Okay. We can't add you to the WhatsApp group because of data protection. You have to add yourself, but we'll send you the link. Okay. it's entirely up to you if you join or not, but lots of people find it helpful. There's lots of support there. All right. Someone said, how can they get a PDF version of the Oxford Handbook? You can't get a PDF version. You can get a Kindle version. Okay. And then you've got here, on day one, the online revision will be cardiovascular health. The weekly task for this whole week, what will they be? Of course, in the actual daily emails, which I'm going to show you, there'll be links to all of this because this is just the online revision. You'll also have case cards to read. You'll also have reading to do. Okay. On the email that you'll get on Wednesday, if you like, that's the day 0 email, there'll be some reading to do so that it will help you when you're answering questions on day 1 on cardiovascular health. You've already done some pre-reading to prepare. Okay. So you'll see on the weekends, you'll do 2 sets of online questions. On weekdays, you'll do 1 set. There's weekly tasks alongside the daily tasks, but there's also all of the live sessions. So you'll see that High Yield Revision Webinar 1 is going to be on the 3rd of February. You've got the times here, okay, so that you can make sure that you've got these things in your calendar. Like the full day course, for example, 12th of March, you need to make sure you've got the whole day available for that. The longer webinars, stats 3.5 hours, admin 3.5 hours, in March. We've got the full day AKT 200 crammer near the end of the program, the 2 High Yield clinical webinars, 3.5 hours, and so on. So you've got all of those dates, but also towards the end, we'll be doing a lot of full mocks. So again, you want to keep those days free for your diary, because although you will have like a whole week to do full mock A and full mock B, what's best is to try and do it on a weekend day. So you can spend 3 hours and 10 minutes doing the mock in exam conditions, then spend 4 or 5 hours going through the answer and explanation so that you consolidate your learning, okay? All the way up to the last day before the exam, we'll have the final webinar, and that will be an hour webinar, and a big focus on that will be exam technique and some motivation for your exam, okay? So you'll get a PDF of this so that you can print it off, stick it on your notice board before, that will be with the first email. Okay, so let me just show you exactly how the emails look and how to actually submit your task. So what will happen is on the day 1 email, the day 1 email will look like this, okay? So it'll say day 1, it'll have your name there, and it will just explain what to do. So essentially, it tells you which questions we're going to be doing, okay? So if you read through that, but essentially once you get to the bottom, everything is clickable. So look, there's the welcome exercise. So one of the things we're going to get you to do is at the beginning, I want you to think about what are the 5 topics that you feel least confident in, really don't like, have avoided, don't feel that you've had any exposure to. And I want you to be specific. So for example, don't put ENT. You can't read ENT in a day. There might be something specific within ENT, like Meniere's, okay? No point putting stats. You can't cover stats in a day. But within stats, there might be a particular graph that you find challenging. And so you're going to write these down. And then over the first few days of the program, you're going to work on learning about these topics, your weakest areas, reading about them, and producing a topic review, okay? So that you start making a start on conquering your weakest areas, the things that you like the least, right at the beginning. And throughout the program, we'll help you cover them. But it's just so you get started on them early. All right. So that's a welcome exercise. That's only on the day 1 email. There'll be a link to the video of this session. Doesn't link to anything now because the video isn't ready, right? But then the main format is that every day there's a question of the day. So you click that. When you do a question, you put your email in. Make sure you use the same email each time that you've registered with, okay? And then you select an answer. And once you've selected it, when you get to the next page, it will tell you if you got it right or wrong. But then there's also be a link for you to do some reading, okay? So then you read the relevant guidelines. So you've not just done a question, but you've also done some reading and learning, okay? And then you go further down, there'll be a set of online questions. So when you click that, it will take you to the questions. You'll need to put in your login. This is your eMedical login. When you do the questions, so there'll be 20 questions. When you do it, if you get it right, you're going to read the explanation. That's probably enough. If you get it wrong, you're going to read this explanation. If you feel you'd like to get a better handle, you might then go back and read that section in the Oxford Handbook, okay? So you've got a better handle. Now, when you've done the whole lot, okay, when you get to the last page, it will tell you what was your total score, okay? And let's say you got 50%, okay? note that down because we're going to ask you to submit that. Okay. So you've done your question of the day, you've done your set of questions. Okay. There'll be case cards to read. So if you've got your physical case cards, sorry, that's day 2. If you've got your physical case cards, we're going to start at the beginning. You do 2 a day. So read case card number 1, which is on AF risk factors, number 2 on coronary heart. If you haven't got your physical cards yet, those of you that joined recently, when you click this link, it will take you to the digital version of the case cards. Okay. And so what you can do is you can just read it digitally. So look, this is number 1. This is number 2. Just concise revision. Okay. So now you've done all of your daily tasks. Your daily tasks involve a question of the day, a set of questions, case cards. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to confirm you've done them and submit. So look, put in your name, put in your same email every time. I'll put the eMedica one here. Okay. Which subject did you do? So let's say that we've done cardiovascular there. Okay. What was your score? So let's say your score's 50. And you know what? A lot of you, your scores will be really low throughout the program. Don't worry. As Masuda and Anna said, this program is designed to aid learning. Our questions are really challenging. That's on purpose, because the point of them, if we give you really easy questions, you get them all right, you feel good. But when you get hard questions in the exam and you struggle, we haven't done our job of preparing you. So we've got hard questions because if you make mistakes, then read about it. It's going to help you to put things into long-term memory. So don't worry if your scores aren't great. That's not important. We don't expect your scores to get great until right at the end. The last week, it'll all come together. Okay. Now, as I said, on the weekends, you'll do more than one subject. So on weekdays, that'll be it. You don't need to do this. You can see it's optional. But on weekends, you might have done a second set. Let's say you've done some child health. Okay. On some days, if you've done RCGP questions, you will download the certificate and then upload it here. If you've got any comments, you can put it here. If you don't, once you click submit, you can see it tells me, look, thank you, Mahiba, your submission's been recorded. All right. So that means that we've got your work. You don't need to contact us. It's done. Okay. We go back to our email. Your weekly tasks, so all of the daily tasks and submitting must be done within 24 hours. So before the next morning, 5 o'clock, before the next email arrives. Okay. You've got 24 hours. The weekly tasks, they'll have a set deadline. So you've got until 5 a.m. on the 5th of February to complete all your weekly tasks. So for example, your topic reviews, each of the 5 topics that you identify as weaknesses, you're going to make a concise topic review. We'll give you examples of what they look like, and then you're going to submit them here. Okay. The weekly tasks, a lot of them are on the RCGP. So for example, here, we've got 2 weekly tasks, part 1 and part 2. RCGP Consulting in GP, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion. When you click this, it'll take you to the RCGP website. Log in with your login. Okay. Once you log in, can you see you can pick a type of test, pick topic specific, and then, for example, you can see week 1, we're going to do consulting in general practice and equality, diversity and inclusion. So let's say you do this one, start the test, work your way through, and when you finish, it will give you a certificate. Download the certificate and you can upload it in the weekly task. And then when you go to submit your weekly tasks, you'll upload the certificate. Again, put your name, put your email, upload the file, select it. You've downloaded it from the RCGP website, submit. Again, you'll get a confirmation. Okay. So that's how you complete it. Now, day 1 looks a bit busier because you've got the welcome exercise, which is only on day 1. You've got a link to the orientation. So I'll just show you day 2 to show you that it won't be as many links. Okay. So day 2, for example, it will just tell you work through your tasks. So you'll have a question, you'll have online revision, you've got your case cards. That's your daily task done. Submit. Okay. Then your weekly tasks, they're still the same. It's just we don't expect you to do all of them in one go. It's just a reminder. Okay. You've got until that deadline to get your weekly tasks done. Okay. And then at the bottom, there's things to read to start preparing you for future questions. So again, if I go back to day 1, you can see there's some things to read here to start preparing you for the next set. You'll see that there's more reading at the beginning, and it's going to take you a bit longer at the beginning to read because so many subjects you haven't covered yet. As we get towards the end, you'll find that the reading is quicker because you've covered a lot of subjects. So you can read it quickly. You don't have to read everything in detail because you already know a lot of it, and it will speed up as you go. Okay. So that's how the actual daily and weekly tasks work and how you're going to submit your work. It is really important that you focus on the work at hand. Don't worry about how am I going to cover X, Y, Z subject or when am I going to cover it. We're going to cover everything important throughout the program. You just focus on that day's task, and by the end of the week, the weekly tasks, and submit on time. Because if you find that you fall behind, because you're going to get more tasks the next day and the next day, you'll find that it's very easy to sort of miss more and more work. So that's why it's really important to be consistent and to keep up with the program. Okay, that's really, really important. So that's how it all works. And just a reminder that the pre-course learning, which is the recording of our MRCGP AKT masterclass on how to pass the AKT, must be completed before we start the program on the 27th. So you've all got access to that in your online learning. Okay, when you log into your eMedica online account, you'll see access to that. So please make sure that you've gone through all of those videos, about 4 and a bit hours, about 4 hours worth of videos before we start. Okay, so it's really, really important that you've gone through all of that before we start the program. Okay. Again, because once you start, you're going to have all of the daily tasks to do, and so on. Okay. Any questions before we round up? Someone's asked a good question. Will the weekend and the sort of evening courses be recorded? So every single live session will be recorded. And once the recordings are processed, which takes a few days, they will be made available to you. We'll set up a single resources page so that as we go through the program. So at the moment, there's nothing on there because we haven't done a live session. But you'll see that you'll have a page. You'll be sent a link to a page for your program, the 90-day April program, and you'll see all of the videos will appear over time. You'll be able to click through and re-download the topic reviews, the course booklets, watch the videos over again after each live session. Okay. Someone asked, how long should it take to complete all of your daily tasks? On weekdays, it's going to take about an hour and a half. Some of you, if you need to spend a bit longer on the reading or go over things a bit more because it happens to be a topic that you're less familiar with, it might take you a bit longer, maybe 2 hours. Shouldn't take any longer than that. On weekends, double that. Okay. So throughout the program, we've got just over 225 hours of learning it will take. All right. And someone's asked, will the live sessions be on a weekend? The 2 full-day courses are on weekends. All of the other live sessions are on weekdays in the evenings. The stats, the admin, the high yield clinical 1, high yield clinical 2, and then we have 5 1 to 1 hour, 15-minute high yield revision webinars. They're all in weekday evenings. Okay. The full day AKT course and the AKT 200 course, they're both on weekends. Someone asked, how many mocks will we do during the course? So you'll do 3 full eMedica mocks online. The AKT 200 course is essentially a full 200 question teaching mock. You'll do a full RCGP mock, and you'll also do an RCGP curriculum learning needs assessment throughout the program. And one of the other things that's really important, why is it important to both keep up with your work and submit your daily tasks and scores? During the first half of the program, we're going to gather a lot of data from all of the work that you do, both ours and RCGP. And for the last 30 days, each of you will get a unique, tailored, targeted revision plan. So we make sure you cover the things that you do least well in based on the data. There might be things you don't like to read. There might be things that, because otherwise we leave it to people to read what they want. People tend to gravitate to what they're good at. That's not going to help you. So we're going to make sure the things you hate, the things that you don't like, or the things that you just didn't do well at, that you'll get additional work on those. So in the last 30 days, every single one of you will have a different program of learning. It's one of the reasons why we sort of have to manually produce those, is one of the reasons why it's a limited cohort. Okay. So all of you will have a targeted revision plan for the last 30 days. All right. Someone asks, is the RCGP login the same one as 14 Fish or the one that you registered to this program? Now, the RCGP self-test login is different to the one that you're using for eMedica Online. It's whatever you set when you registered with that. Okay. And someone's asked about reading from the BNF. So if you watch the pre-course webinar, I covered that, but essentially you want to read the first section of the BNF, and you don't have to do all of that now. You'll have time. So, that covers principles of prescribing, pain management, prescribing and palliative care. And at the beginning of each chapter, there tends to be a couple of sections covering sort of like a topic review or summary of important drug classes affecting different systems. So that can be a few pages for some chapters. It can be 1 or 2 pages for some chapters. You want to read those as well at some point. And someone's asked a good question, that do they need to do additional things beyond the program? No. If you do everything in the program and stick with it and keep up and learn it, we will cover all of the key topics that you need to not just pass, but pass well, but also importantly, the key exam techniques, which can make a huge difference. Okay. Now, some people, they happen to have more time than others and they like to do additional things. That's entirely up to you. You're not going to get harmed by practicing a few extra, but you don't need to. We will, between our questions and MRCGP self-test questions, cover more than 3,600 questions. We will have, so much live teaching. You'll develop the technique and cover all of the key topics. We'll cover all three domains: stats, admin, all of the key clinical topics. It's more than enough to prepare you. Okay. Someone's asked, does it mean that we'll cover most topics in the first 2 months and the last month will be revision? Not at all. We'll be learning things right up until the last few days. Okay. You can't cover everything in 2 months. It's not possible. The curriculum is too big. All right. And in fact, a lot of the live teaching will be happening in March. All right. So that, that coming up to that last month, we'll make sure that we've prepped you and given you a lot of that live teaching, which is going to help you cover things that sometimes people find difficult to study on their own, like stats, like admin, like some of the higher clinical topics. Okay. So watch out for the welcome email, which will come to you on Wednesday. And then the first email will come. Day one starts Thursday. Make sure you've added our email address to your safe list. Put in a filter. I recommend you have a specific folder where you keep all our emails, day 1, day 2, day 3. If you haven't received the email by sort of time you wake up, it could be that it's been filtered to spam. Check spam before you contact us, okay? If you still don't find it, email us as soon as you can so that when the office opens, we can make sure it's forwarded and check what's happened. Sometimes some email providers randomly block legitimate emails. So, if that happens more than once or twice, we might ask you to change your email. But otherwise, stick with one email throughout the program. Great. Thank you very much, everyone. So look, really, just as we wrap up, just want to say welcome to the Pass Guarantee program. And, the whole team is here to help you every step of the way. We're going to be with you. You're going to get fed up of my voice and of seeing me because, we're going to have so many hours together of live teaching, but also you'll get emails from myself and the team throughout the program. Okay. We're here to support you. It is important that you have the right mindset that while we've done the structuring for you, you've got to put the effort in. You've got to keep consistent. You've got to put a lot of hard work in because it's a challenging exam, but it'll all be worthwhile when you get that big green tick and you get that pass. So welcome to the program. I'm really looking forward to working with you all until you've finished the program, you've smashed your exam, and then we'll celebrate your completing the program and celebrate your success. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you all throughout the program.